Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the City of Blackwater. It feels damn good to be back, it really does. It's been too long since I've uploaded a video in this series, many people of which have been asking in the comments, tweeting me on social media and in Discord and things like that, and just asking if I'm done with the series because I didn't really say anything about it. I did tell people in replies to comments, obviously not many people can see that. They're like, no, I'm gonna be doing more. But I just couldn't give a date because I kept getting pushed out and I kept trying to record it and then... Anyways, I didn't want to spend too long on it, but I do feel like I owe some sort of an explanation, just a little bit, as to why I took a while with this. And then I want to talk about the, quote, state of the game, as I feel like it would be weird to ignore kind of what's going on, at least at the current time of recording in the City Skylines community, just a little bit. So just bear with me, I'll try to make it quick, because I do just want to get to the gameplay, and a lot of the last few episodes I've been doing recaps and things like that. First things worth mentioning, I don't mind waiting around right here, because we're making $50,000 per hour, and I want to build a harbor in this episode, an industrial harbor. So I don't actually have the money for it right now, but if we just wait a little while, we will very shortly. So after several patches, something's happened to the economy where we're now just making absolutely tons of money. It seems like it's just taxes that have gone up. It's kind of hard to know exactly. I guess, yeah, I'd have to go back in the old videos and see when I looked at the budget panel, compare what the tax rates were before in the bottom right of the screen there and see what's the big difference, but it just seems like we got a massive buff to taxes. That's ultimately seems to be what happened. And because of that, we are now just rolling in money. Anyway, so we'll just leave that in the background. So, very quickly, why haven't I uploaded this series in a while? And, you know, to those who've been following along. So, a couple of reasons. I've been doing Satisfactory videos on, you know, as my other series, and that's been doing really, really well for me, although both are kind of falling in line with the same similar amount of views now anyway. Satisfactory takes an insane amount of time, more so than I thought. I was planning this really big build that I thought would take 2 videos. It ended up taking 4. And in order to be able to even do it, I took on a few sponsorships to kind of help me through it, because the amount of time to just put out 1 video in a week, actually it was like 1 in 10 days, was kind of insane. So I get offers all the time, and then I picked a few that I was like, yeah, these would fit, this would be good, these seem reasonable, let's go. Anyways, that kind of tided me over and helped me get those videos out. And the entire time I was like, the next one's going to be City Skylines. I'd sit down, start thinking about what we need to do since the last video, building up here and wanting to do this harbor. And not to get like a little behind the scenesy or you know, emotional or whatever people would call it. Personal? Yeah, personal is probably the way to go. Just not very confident as a player of this game. I feel like the other content creators out there are really, really good. And I look at my videos and I just see this huge drop-off in views. And I get that in every series, to be honest. And I just don't know why I can't seem to retain people from video to video. There's something to be said about having a big gap between them, that's for sure. But even when I have videos that are days apart, just 1 or 2 days apart, and they're pretty regular, I tend to just have a lot of people drop off, and I never really know why. The people that leave don't necessarily tell you why. It's the people that stay that tell you, like, hey, I love these videos, they're great. And you can't retain everyone all the time. But I do look at channels like City Planner Plays, and who is literally the #1 channel, so it's not like I'm expecting that, but I look at channels like that to see, okay, like, you put out a video, 100,000 views. The next one, 100,000. The next one, 100,000. I'm like, damn, that must be nice. You know, it must be nice to know that your next few videos are just going to have the same, roughly the same amount of people watching every time, if not more. Whereas for me, every video I put out after I start a series, it just declines. And there's something about that which makes it very difficult to go into the next video. Or it puts pressure on, I guess, to make me go like, oh, I gotta make sure the next one's really good. Like, I'm trying to hold people on here. But ultimately, I get in my own head about that. I think this isn't good, this sucks, and I just don't, you know, I don't upload it. So, when you see that I haven't uploaded a video for a while in this series, it's not for lack of trying, I promise. It's for basically a lack of confidence. So, it is what it is. But I've kind of come to the realization just recently here, at the beginning of February at least, that, look, I just need to at least be consistent. The very least, if I could just be consistent, maybe I can just build up and increase viewership over time, perhaps. I think it's getting in my own way, not being consistent. It's very difficult, I find anyway, to plan videos, especially for that Satisfactory series, because it's like, how long is it going to take to make a whatever factory? It's like, I don't know. You know, it could take days, hours. I don't know. And do I split it up into multiple? Is it a good payoff not to see the end in a video? I don't know. So I'm just trying to work all that out. It's difficult. You know, I'm just trying to figure it out. It's not woe is me. things are generally going very well. I'm really enjoying the job and all of that, but I've been trying to just be like, man, the number one problem I have is consistency, and I'm trying to improve that. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to talk about then was the state of the game, just very quickly. Oh, and just by the way, apologies for missing out on videos. Like, I mean, it hurts me, honestly, more than it hurts anyone else, but it's, you know, it sucks. I have content creators that I watch, and they don't know about me or anything. You know, I just watch them as a consumer or as a viewer, and when they miss a week or whatever, that blows. You know, you kind of look forward to these things, even just to kind of keep your mind busy or whatever the case might be, and then to not be there, it really does suck. So I feel really bad if I've let anyone down like that. Especially like channel members and stuff, the people who are most invested, you know. So I'm aware of that. Just wanted to make it point that out. Sorry that this is like weirdly personal. It's like a podcast almost. Hey, we just had a car crash. Anyways. Speaking of car crashes, Cities Skylines 2 development. At the moment, a lot of content creators, and speaking of those other content creators, they've kind of been mentioning, you know, the game's really buggy, it's not being patched very quickly, and a recent, quote, word of the week that Colossal Order put out, and Paradox, I guess, in conjunction with them, have said that they're not really going to be patching the game as green game development as a background for people I've mentioned in the series, I think, before. Just like giving people some context to let you know, like, I roughly know a little bit of what I'm talking about, but I'm no way, like, the expert in any of it. Creative Assembly did the same thing. They patched their game with their DLC. So it's like, okay, a DLC comes out, and then maybe you might get 1 or 2 quick hotfixes that week, and then that's it for a few months. And then the rest of the fixes get bundled into the next DLC, which inevitably introduce a few more bugs. And that is a cycle that community is very well aware of, and are actually going through a similar sort of, I hate to use the word crisis, but you know what I mean, like, you know, a problem, a situation with the company, right? They're going through this mini backlash, and the players are kind of dropping off, and they're sort of unhappy, and you get negative reviews and all of that. And I just thought it would be worth mentioning, you know, I feel like you can't avoid it. Now, I enjoy playing this game, but there's no doubt it's buggy. I mean, I've told people forever that I wouldn't recommend buying it. I enjoy playing it, but I wouldn't recommend buying it full price. Wait until it's fully working as intended, then sure. Or play it on Game Pass, just to see if you like it, and then maybe that would be worth investing your time. So why are they doing it DLC? So the problem, the red flag that was raised for me when they said that they're not going to do patches until DLC was that the players are dropping off like crazy for this game. Cities Skylines 1 has surpassed it by a lot. And if you actually look at the comparison of the player charts respective to their original release, so Cities Skylines 1 I think came out in 2013 or around that time, might have been 2015. If you look at the concurrent players when it came out, 90 days out from its release, it had more players then than this game has now, 90 days from Cities Skylines 2's release. So even forgetting that that game has all the DLC and it's beating it now or whatever, that's fair enough, but it's actually beating it based on its original timeline when it didn't have all that stuff. That's pretty bad. That's quite shocking. I mean, if I was Paradox, I'd be like, oh my god, we really messed this one up. Because, you know, allegedly they kind of forced it out the door to help fill a gap in their fiscal year because of Lamplighter League and all this stuff. It's like, man, I don't know if it was worth doing that to a game that was, you know, one of the top 5 or top 10 wish lists on Steam, and then you just kicked it out the door before it was fully finished. You know, it's missing animations, missing economy simulation stuff. Cool base framework for an alpha. I'd be like, this is pretty good, but you've got another 6 months of full development to go, not just post-release development patches. Anyways, the problem there is, now that the players have dropped off, why on earth would you prioritize releasing DLC when there's no players? That to me seems crazy. You should be patching the game to get it into a better state, more players will come back, and then you release the DLC to recoup more of your investment. I feel like it's a no-brainer that you'd actually make more money that way. So I'm very disheartened to see that they're leaning, other than maybe, and I know it's not the same, necessarily the same people, like our team has to have something to do, but there's missing animations in the game and stuff, like just work on all that. Just, I don't know, it seems like a no-brainer to me. For a different studio or a different game, I'd say different things, but you're pretty set with this game, so it just seems really strange. Anyway, that's me and my soapbox. Easy for me to say, right? I can barely even get my own videos out, so easy for me to say. But I just thought I would mention that. You know, it's just been on my mind. A lot of the community are like backing out of the game for a little while, and I totally respect that. And other YouTubers as well. I'm going to keep playing it because I've just got 2 series on the go, and I do enjoy the game, but it does suck when we've got high rent, weird car access bugs. We're trying to figure out whether things are working as intended or if they're bugged, because we just don't know. It's cause and effect, and you don't know all the information yet. So navigating through all that has been a bit tedious, to say the least. So anyway, I'm sure, I have no doubt, like, the game will get better over time and everything, but it just sucks that that's what they're choosing to do with it. But anyway, that's what it is. Right, so let's get into the gameplay. Sorry for such a long tirade here at the beginning. So now we're up to 535,000. We're making 130,000 per hour. It's almost too easy, isn't it? It almost seems unfair. Previously, I actually even had to take a loan because we were only making 1,000 or 2,000 per minute or per hour. Now we're just making so much money that I can just pay that off and say, see you later. And again, just seems to be a massive buff to taxes. I'm not running any mods. I'm tempted to run that mod that's out there that apparently fixes the high rent issue, but probably leave it for a while until it gets bad enough that I kind of have to use it, if you know what I mean. Anyways, so right, what are we going to do? What I want to build out here. There's a few things that have been going on that I've realized that are just going to be problematic in the future. Right, so I built an industry up here, and I'd said that we could put a harbor up here. A lot of people pointed out, like, that's just kind of crazy. But I felt like I kind of had no choice, because that's just the way the winds are blowing. It's like, well, the industry has to be up here. If it was up to me, it wouldn't. Creatively, if there was no wind pollution, I'd put it definitely somewhere else. That would make sense to the town. But because of the way the game works, it's like, if I put it anywhere else, it's just going to blow over the city, effectively. So it felt like, okay, we'll push it all the way up the river. But this river is just simply not wide enough to really make sense for ferry traffic to kind of go up there. Now, in England, which this town is loosely based off with some American influences, you know, there are ports that are upriver about 7 to 10 to 15 kilometers, depending on where you look. But the difference is the river is really wide. So that's the main difference there. Now, we don't really have the luxury of that. So what we're going to have to do is build... I've decided to agree with everybody and say, okay, screw it. We'll just keep the industry up there, a little northern industrial business park or whatever. I'm thinking putting the rail yard down there as well. So sort of, because it can't really have anything else. It can't have industrial buildings. It could have some offices, maybe. That could be okay. And we have the highway here already. Now, one issue with this is that there are sea lanes. Okay, so we have our water category with our regular harbor and our cargo harbor. Then we've got the 3 different types of seaways. And then we have the line tools for actually hooking them up. So if we put a harbor there now, it comes built in with its own seaway, but we're not connected to the other ones. The other ones are actually really far out. They're all the way out here. And the only way to connect and get our harbor to work is to buy tiles so that we can get out there. I don't have enough tiles to do that. So we definitely need to get to the next milestone, which will give us 18 tiles, right, when we get to Big City. And that will allow us to push out. So I just thought I would point out that's the situation. So I'm just going to buy these ones really quickly because we're going to need them as well. So that's 4 and 5. That's 400,000. Boom. All right, so just blew all that money that we just earned. But now we have a decent amount of coast to work with. We've pushed all the way up here so that we can... I want to build more connections, and the big city is kind of going to go up here. Probably should have saved it actually for that bit, but I think we'll work around it. All right, so in the meantime, I wanted to kind of focus on this gap here. We never did anything with it, so it's time we fix it up. So similar to over on this side, we have our high school, we have our college, and there's some low rent and mixed density housing here. Not mixed density, mixed use, right? So it's residential and commercial just around here. Some leisure parks and stuff, right? Tennis courts, basketball. Had to look at different sports things we could put in. I thought, oh, behind the high school would be perfect. Get a soccer field or something like that. It just doesn't fit. Unfortunately, it's a bit too big. So we're going to just go with more housing, more student housing and low rent housing in general. So more high density, medium and high density housing here. That's at least my plan. So let's get to it. We're not going to pause while we build here because we're waiting. We're trying to earn that money. So just going to get rid of this pathway here and this crosswalk here, because it's going to interrupt what we want to do. And same has to go for here, unfortunately, if you want to get rid of these bits. So I will have to pause it just right now so we can get rid of... Actually, first, before we do that, we'll let time continue. Going to get the level terrain tool. We'll select this little part of the terrain and just flatten this all out. So we're going to do what we've done on the left side, which is create that retaining wall all inside of here. And hopefully this plays ball. Alright. I guess this should probably move. I suppose moving it just onto the inside somewhere here would probably make sense. It's kind of close to the backs of their house, but I mean, someone has to live next to it, right? Kind of. Alright, just flatten that all out. Okay. So yeah, we're up to 16,600. I also just thought worth mentioning, not to get too distracted really quickly. We have our bus routes. Bus routes are doing really, really well. At least some of them are. Some of them are just very busy. And another thing I wanted to do down in this area is add a new bus terminal or bus depot so we can field more buses, basically. Because at the moment, we're kind of running out. And they're super, super busy around the train station. Train station's by far the most busy place in the city, right? Just tons of people are getting taxis in here, all getting taxis, and then other people are getting buses here. It's difficult to kind of assess, generally speaking, where they're trying to go. I've been looking myself in between episodes, clicking around, but they're all kind of going different places. So I was trying to sort out, you know, okay, how can we like make more efficient bus routes to get them to where they need to go? We have bus routes that are into the heart of Hawkstown here and by the train station. Can't really go any further in because it's all pedestrian streets, so it's not really meant for cars. But I was also trying to track where the taxis are going. You know, it's like, okay, where are the taxis? And some of them are going all the way out to these different industrial areas. So it might be the case that maybe we need better public transport connections out to the various industries, because it seems like people don't want to drive all that far out to them. Then on the flip side of that, we just have super busy car parks. All the car parks are just full all the time, pretty much. And I was, you know, some people were saying like, oh my God, you're building all this housing. Nobody has any, you know, they don't come with garages. Where are people supposed to park? They're not allowed to park on the street without spending a huge amount of money. Car parks cost loads. It's like, yeah, the idea is that they're supposed to use public transport. You know, London has congestion charges and roadside parking fees, but people live in apartments, and houses like this are supposed to kind of, a lot of people anyway, not everybody, but a lot of them, if you don't have a garage or a place to park, you're supposed to kind of get the bus and the train and the subway and whatever else you can get. So maybe I just haven't done a good job providing enough of that public transport to people, but I feel like in City Skylines 1, if this was this game, I have. You know, we've given them 3 different types of transport, really, to get around the town and get up to their various jobs and stuff. So, I don't know. Actually, just speaking of jobs, I had meant to just fill in a little bit extra here, even just temporarily. Is that the right space? About there. Down this way, sorry. Yeah. Just a little bit of extra industry can pop up there. Haven't given that a name yet, actually. Right, anyway, back to the task at hand. Oh, we've got an abandoned building. Almost meet. It's condemned. And now it's not. Okay. Cool. I don't know how we fixed that, but good. Alright, and we're just making absolute bank right now. 138,000. So what the hell has even changed? I'll have to check that again. Did taxes just jump randomly as well just now? Because nothing else has changed other than just a few more people arriving in. Okay, so what I was thinking is we can go with alleyways. Alleyways are always kind of nice. And could bring one in off there. Yeah, you get that weird... That's what I was trying to do, actually. I like this kind of big square junction we've created. Yeah, so I might go with that. See how that works for us. Keep those grids intact as best we can. As soon as I said that, it just didn't do it. Alright, let's try that again. So, just turn some of these things off. We have the 90-degree angle, zoning cell length, and zone grid. That's kind of what we want. But I feel like we need to build it off of this grid. So even just temporarily... Hang on. I know the problem. Let's just create a pathway here to block that zoning off. That gives us our full grid to play with now. There we go. So that gives us a much nicer grid here. Obviously, you can't do anything about that little piece there, but that's fine. We'll just build one tile in or something. All right, cool. So yeah, we can go in a bit further with that now. So like I said, I thought about sports fields, soccer fields and different things, you know, activities for them, but it just didn't seem, none of it seemed to make sense. Perhaps a community pool would be a good idea. Would that fit in here? Oh, it does. We're also at 9:53. We could turn on the regular day-night cycle now. There we go. We can see a bit better in there. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of the tennis courts, the basketball and stuff like that, and then we have the pool. That's pretty cool. And then maybe we can put a car park in on this bit where it's a bit, that rotation is happening. We'll just get that alleyway to come back up here. So I'll have to go do it the weird way again, but at least it works. And then just get rid of this. Yeah, at least it does work. Okay, cool. Anyways, that's hooked up again. Concord Lane, kind of a cool name. Yeah, nice. Just a bit different. All right, anyways, pause it. Gonna get rid of this now. Hillside Street, we can go with a medium road for that. And the problem here is the way the terrain has deformed. So we'll have to grab our slope tool. Yep, so that's totally fine. So in order for the retaining wall to work on both sides, this could be really tricky, but I think we have to just flatten the terrain here into the edge. So similar to how it was before, but just leaving a bit of a wider gap than what was there. And that should give us our wall effect, I hope. Let's see. That's a retaining wall there, but this is a bridge. This might take a bit of playing around with because I feel like it's not going to play ball. It looks like that's a bridge as well. Alright, looks like we have to do that again, but... So now it's doing it on a certain part. There we go. That actually does it on this side. So that would work on this side. If we go right to the dead center. This side, probably not. So we'll just push that side in a bit. Alright, looks good on this side. Should we just commit to it and check the other side in a sec? Damn. Is it not possible maybe to do it on both sides at the same time? Yeah, there we go. Looking good. Alright. Yeah, so that's retained all the way down. So that's nice. And then this side would do the same if we just make it retaining wall all the way out that way. And that would actually get rid of the zoning, thinking about it. This is a really difficult one to do, though, because of the way the slope is going to work here. But let's give it a shot. Alright, so we'll grab the slope tool. We'll set this as the target and work our way up from here. Alright, not bad. That seemed to work actually okay. And then just flatten, maybe just push that back just a little bit. I feel like that bit that sticks out now is going to have a real problem, so we might have to just put that back in after the fact. Okay, so that little fence to appear the whole way. So that looks good. By God, I think we may have... And we made it a one-way street. 180 degrees the whole way. And it is weird the way it cuts in, but that seems to be okay. Alright, and then, yep, back to this. And there we go. We have a nice, thick retaining wall the whole way across. Quite like it, actually. Quite like the look of that. And that should help with the zoning issue I had down there. Now our grid should be nice and tidy and easy to kind of do stuff with. Now, I was thinking of bringing this road straight up here, but grid-wise, that won't really work for us in terms of the spacing of houses. Because I kind of want the same ones that we have here. I think that would just give a nice look to the place if we could kind of mirror that. So, what have we got? These are... I'm just trying to see. That's a 5x5. Yeah, so if we could kind of do that again. And what kind of house is it? Is it this one? Medium. It looks like it. Yeah. So that is going to be in medium density housing. 5x5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. So that... Yeah. That's a problem. Can't do anything about that, actually, I don't think. I don't think we can ever zone an area like that. Let's just do a little quick test. Is that possible? So if I just go out to a different random thing. There's our zoning grid. Okay, so I can. That works there. So why doesn't it work back where we just looked? Let's have a look. Let's find out why that would be. Could just be to do with how this road was done. So let's get rid of this one as well. Hopefully this doesn't break absolutely everything, but it might. And I guess we can put the grass on it afterwards. It's just a standard road, right? Okay, so we'll start here. I guess I'll start right there. Continue this across. 96, 104. Yep. Okay, that looks good. Kept intact. Aha, there's your problem. I think this is coming over at a weird angle. Oh, but that's okay. That actually is okay. It's kept our zone totally fine. Okay, that was surprisingly smooth to do. What we could try now is... So that was a one-way, or becomes a one-way right there. It doesn't link into that side, so I suppose this just needs to stay one-way then the whole time. And we'll turn back on upgrades. Right, and then we could just finish this off with the grass on the side again, and I guess it has trees. Now that is a two-way at the moment. Do we want that to be the case? I feel like I had that as a one-way before. So, might just do that again. So, a two-way, but one-way heading down that street. Feel like, yeah, because I wanted people to go up this way, out and around. That's just the idea for the flow of traffic, so hopefully that'll work. Unfortunately, it does seem to have busted all of the houses here. Now, we could try to get this back in. So that's low-rent housing that I feel like was a 4x4. So that's okay. Medium-density housing here. Here. And that was mixed. Okay. Oh, I can't believe it, but apparently that actually will stay intact now. That was very, very well done. If I do say so myself. I can't believe it was that pain-free. All right, anyways. But that allows us now to continue across, right? 5x5 and a 5x5. So when I was thinking of having a road come in here and then having some smaller houses or things to do in at the back. Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's see how much space we're given if we do that. So if we brought an alleyway just in like that. Yeah, see, that's good. That's not bad at all. That's 4 grids. But would that be a bit strange? I feel like that might be a bit weird. But maybe not. Let me just have a look at those ones. These are probably the ones that are going to appear. So an alley right at the back of them. They've got hedgerows and things. Well, you know what? It might be alright. To keep the consistency, let's give that a shot. So, let's try that then. Alright, so that is a two-way in. Can't change that with alleyways, I've noticed. You know, so you can't make a one-way alley. Elizabeth Lane. But we've got a nice grid now, at least. And if we bring this in here, maybe we could have car parks on either side. Potential. Small parking lot. Does that fit? Oh, yes. It's good. I could try and make that a retaining wall as well, but that might take a bit more work on my part, so I might leave that until, yeah, I've got more time to do it. I don't want to spend this whole episode building retaining walls. Alright, let's go to about there then. Now, see, the only thing with that is car parks are in such demand in this city. I do feel like it's going to encourage a lot of people coming in this way, getting in, parking here to go out. But I'm hoping that's far enough away from whatever they want to do that it's mostly for the people living here. That would be the idea. So let's see how that goes. So anyway, we've got those blocks there. Now we've got the same blocks that can go just behind them. Excuse me. And then we can have little pathways and things that cut between them too. Now, I didn't add any low-rent housing. These would be the low-rent buildings. Maybe... And how big are they? If you want to keep that size. That is a 5x5 also. It might be a bit too symmetrical, but let's try 5x5 there and a 5x5 there. And then the same here. So then the smaller ones are just in between right at the back, and then the bigger ones are at the towers. The towers are sort of on the sides. Should be alright. Alright, let time play. These two didn't come in correctly, so just delete that. There we go. Alright, we did it. More people are moving in. Now, unlike down here, this one actually has a sort of walkway that spirals around and leads up, and he has a little crosswalk and everything. Don't have that on this side. I kind of don't think it needs it. This is already a way out here, and we need to just reconnect that. So let me just do that as well. Turn these off, snap to geometry, keep 90 degree on, please. Just bring that down, just let it connect back in, hopefully. Yeah, so it's raised the land there, but I guess it's fine. Something else I'm going to do. I know people are of two minds. Actually, I'll leave it on for a second. I was going to turn off the road white lines because I'm just not a big fan of them. But some people are. They prefer having that on. I kind of see why. I don't like it completely bare, but I just feel like these are too strong. I wish that you could just tone it down to like, yeah, like half the strength it is now. But it is what it is. So the other thing then, do we need little crosswalk lines here? I suppose no harm. It should be fine. That's climbed up quite a bit to reach to the side here. That should be fixed when I build a retaining wall on this side. Alright, we've got our first takers in terms of people parking there, so that's good. Now, before we look back on this area, there was something else I had that I wanted to check. I'm just trying to remember where it was. Ooh, one other thing over here. We've got a bit of empty space here. I thought it'd be good for a little bit of commerce. So, strangely, or not strangely I guess, but our offices have actually leveled up all the way to 5. That's pretty cool. So there's just a little bit of offices here. Just a very small amount. This is where we have our post office. So just a brief reminder of this layout for Hawkstown. Big university, low density residential, and then everywhere else is pretty much mixed until we get back down here. So sort of lower Hawkstown, South Hawkstown has some service buildings, right? So we have the medical clinic, the police station, some parking, some local markets and things, and then we've got the kind of medium density housing. Just also notice there, what's going on here, huh? Interesting. No one's looking to move in. It has been zoned, but that's just... Hey, one of our high rent things actually went away. That's good. Anyway, yeah, so the other thing I was thinking of was this. I had said in the previous episode about this being I couldn't get the corner of this building, right, properly. But people suggested, why didn't you just build an alleyway? So there was a reason for it, but I think we can work around it. The reason I didn't was because I didn't want the alley to connect in here and create another junction, like another junction along this kind of main road, so close to this one. But we can do it now, and we're going to try to basically try to remove that junction. So let's see what we can do. So we can go into our road services, traffic lights, remove the traffic lights, remove the crosswalks, at least that direction. We'll also prevent turning right here, so you cannot turn right. So you're just to go straight. Here, I'll allow you to turn left. We're left-hand drive here, so you're just pulling into the left. That's fine by me. I got no problem there. But coming out, you are not to turn right. We're never going to cross traffic with this place. You're just driving one way through, basically. So you can go out to the left, and people who are going left can come in this way. That's as much as I want to have happen there. And that seems to be working just fine. Make sure they have streetlights. So they have streetlights already. Is that it then? That might just be it. So what that means is we can now demolish these buildings. Delete the zoning here. Let that rezone. And we can see there's a gap in the fence here and a gap there. So we do have a corner building, so that's good. And same here. So hopefully that's fixed it. Strawberry Lane. Don't we already have a Strawberry Lane? Just somewhere up here, I think. Yes. I'm actually getting to remember and know parts of my city. Strawberry Lane. What could we call it? I have no idea. Oh, actually, I've got one. Colette's Way. I think Colette is spelled with one L, actually. Colette. Let's do two L's behind a pub. And it just connects one area to another, like it's actually just for pedestrians, but yeah, call it that. I have an auntie and her name is Colette, so also has some bearing on me. What are we at? 11:30 in the morning. Cool. All right, so houses are coming in. So we have our low rent big blocks coming in. That actually looks kind of like a nice building. Oh, I guess it's the same as this one, just different color. I like the color of this. And we could use the developer tools to maybe bring out some grass and add some extra trees and things like that here, as well as bushes. So I'd have to have a look at what we've used before, but I think it's mostly been the aspen. Why am I saying aspen? I probably meant alder. Alder's going to be too big in there. Little oak trees. Birch would fit. Birch always fits because it's quite thin. Let's try that. By the time they come in, they'll be great. And what did I do on this side? So again, yeah, these are just pine trees. All right. Maybe we should keep it as pine then, because we do have a lot of pine trees around here. Pine. It just seems like they might be a bit big, actually. Cool. And then, yeah, like I said, with developer tools, we can just put grass in here. I'm not going to do it now because it's just unnecessary detailing, but I'll just do that in between episodes. Ooh, this does not look too good, huh? Got a big old piece of terrain jammed through here, and it looks like this actually kind of built a weird mini retaining wall thing of its own. Let some of these buses and stuff get out of here. Okay, so that's a way to get onto the crosswalk down and around quite easily on this side, and then you'd have to have a similar sort of pathway that leads, well, you could just get onto the path, walk, and get across then. So there's no direct way down from up here, at least the way I've done it. You could have a really long thing that just goes straight down to here probably, but I feel like that would just probably look a bit strange. And then I'll probably just put some trees or something small in here. Is there any other kind of parks or something we could pop in there? Wow, this is actually does fit in there. A park beneath the thing would look a bit strange. Outdoor gym. The gym facilities are tiny, tiny little things. So we could maybe have a couple outdoor gym facilities in at the corner there. Why not? Why the hell not? Alright, so we'll get that alley, bring it up a bit further, bring this in, and then the gyms can just go in there. And I can't find them for some reason, because I'm crazy. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. So 3 outdoor gyms next to a community pool, next to tennis courts and basketball courts, so looking good. Low rent housing nearby. If anything, the land value here would be too high for those guys, really, with so many good things around. You could probably have some trees going into that retaining wall. They are south facing, so the sun would hit them, so that's nice. Yeah, alright, I'm pretty happy with that. We now have Broadfield leveling up bit by bit. You can see the houses are just becoming slightly better. I don't think we've got any low-density residential row housing that have become level 4 yet. They're about 3 1/4, maybe. Don't know if anyone's beat that yet. One of them there is almost 3 1/3, but yeah, they'll need a lot more money to get any higher up than that. Alright, so how much money have we stored up now in the meantime? 538 Thaui, so that's quite a bit. So those are some of the mini projects I wanted to take care of. That should boost our population a decent amount, and they already have their transport, mail, and all these other kind of general services set up for them in that area. I need to go over it a little bit with a cosmetic fine-tooth comb, but other than that, I think they're looking good. We do still have this issue where people are literally just driving through here, though. That's actually really bad, the way they're doing that right now. Where it's probably the people that are moving in, I think, actually, so it's not going to be this constantly all the time, but we'll have to check on it the next day and see how that goes, because I've noticed when you build new houses, basically you just get a flood of traffic. Not everyone literally just drives in and moves in that way. Some people just appear in the buildings, I guess, but a portion of them do drive in from outside the city, and you'll see that they often have like camper vans and wagons attached and things like that. These ones don't really seem to, though. Let's just test this theory out. Destination, this lane, driver, owner, the Harrington family. Number 9 Coleridge Lane. Yeah, so they live there, so they're just moving in. Alright, so be it. So be it. Okay, so should we start doing stuff over here? I think so. We can start flattening out the area a bit. So we need to pick a kind of a contour line that we're just going to work with and flatten that area for the rail and for the harbor itself. So we'll just get the level tool. I'm thinking 2 lines down from this one here is probably good enough. So 1, 2, about there. Just click onto that one maybe, and then flatten from there on. Yeah. Something like that. I'll try to work with that as our kind of initial coastline. Because if we go any higher up than that, it would look really crazy. I mean, that's actually pretty high already, but any higher than that, it would look pretty crazy because the ships will be coming in trying to get loaded from a crane that's really high up. So we could go even higher, you know, we could have gone higher, but I think there is probably a decent middle ground. Going lower just makes it harder to get out of here with trains and vehicles in terms of needing to build infrastructure and bridges. Because if you remember this particular map, we just go higher and higher and higher and higher forever. And that just makes it so damn tricky to build, I find anyway. But it's probably just a me thing, I don't know. Alright, so follow that contour line all the way around. And that goes under our bridge, which the bridge is already built that way, as if things did go under here. And we'll probably build a key wall that goes all the way around here in the future. So we'll just go like that. I'll just leave this place quite empty. So the general idea, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get this place running for a while. Like I said, we have to reach the next milestone so that we can actually hook up the sea lanes. But the other issue is that we need trains. Trains are going to be coming in from here, but I haven't hooked that up yet either. So I need to connect straight out to the east and straight out to the south or something to hit those sea lanes. That's the only way we can actually viably get this place running and put our rail yard in there and everything. So, all right. So it's pretty far out on the side. Would that be unusual to be that far out on the side of the bay? Might be. Gonna waste so much money moving this thing. 30,000. I can't rotate it, by the way. It's just based on the terrain. So if I wanted to rotate it, I'd have to shift the terrain over. So I'm trying to create a much more harsh line for us to be able to just angle onto. So that might be better. Yeah, a little bit better. Not much, but it is more angled the way I want it to be. Good. Okay, cool. Right, so just to match that side, we'll just do something like this. And then we can build a retaining wall or something in the future along there. Alright, anyways, so we'll just turn that off to save a little bit of money now. So it has a road connection required, but it also can have additional storage warehouses. It can have a railway connection. The unfortunate thing here is the railway connection just leads in one way and then goes back out the same way, and it cannot go through, and I can't decide how to rotate the building. Like, you can never have it come in from the west side, right? It has to come in from that side. So that sucks, but that's just the way it is. So we'll pop it in because we know we will use it. Additional cargo cranes at the front, that's okay. But yeah, that's all right. We're not too low down off the edge now, so I'm pretty happy about that. Hopefully in the future, if they release either free updates or DLC or something, I'll be able to kind of have a proper key wall, right? I think a lot of people want that, so I could hopefully be the same texture or whatever as this and just go further out. It's almost like you could build this down here, but it would actually sink into the water unless I bring that further out as well. So it doesn't really solve any kind of problem, just moves it. Okay, so because of the rail coming in from this side being really awkward, if I have a road, let's just say we turn on snapping to the side of building. If we bring the road here, it can't really go too far out this way because ultimately the train line's going to have to go like this, right? Somewhere here it's going to have to get out to the edge of the map, and then somewhere there it's going to have to be able to go back up this way, and it's going to have like one of those Y junctions here. So the way I've done my rail, I'm actually rethinking now because I've got two double lines next to each other the whole way. And the idea was that one of them would be reserved for cargo and the other for passenger trains. But since one of the updates, I've noticed that passenger trains are just going between the various areas on the map, and they're using the wrong sort of rail, if you know what I mean. So, because of that, I'll probably get rid of the second lane, the second railway, because it doesn't really, it kind of helps some things, but it's not really worth the problems that it causes. The problems that it causes is because passengers are on the inside. If I want to get this out and to go out there, sorry, not passenger. Which one is on? Now I can't even remember myself. I thought passengers was on the outside. Yeah. Yeah, cargo's on the inside and passenger is on the outside. But yet we have freight traveling along here. So I don't think this is one of mine. No, it's not. So this is what I was saying. The initial idea was that like the passenger trains go faster than freight. So having them on their own double line would make sense. And it does. Except for one of the recent patches now seems to have changed things. Because I never had this before, but now I'm seeing them using both sides because of the randomly generated trains that are coming in from off the map. Anyways, if the main benefit isn't really a benefit anymore, as you can see these trains are now waiting behind these ones, they're all going at a consistent speed. What you can have obviously is sections where we like overlap and allow bypasses and stuff like that, or allow trains to wait and so on and so forth. But one problem that I was having is if I want to bring this rail line in here, which I do, I can't cross it over. I couldn't make it happen with the game's tools. Right, so if I bring this forward and I try to cross it in here, it has to go really, really super far up, I think, to be able to do that. And I haven't gotten the room, basically. So I don't know how to do it. That kind of works there, maybe, does it? Actually, you know what? That works. And can we do it on the other side, then? Like a complete cross, no? It would have to be here, then. So that allows them to transfer over. I mean, it looks heinous, I would say, but I think it's just not really realistic to have a double thing like this the whole way up. So I'm going to be changing that, basically. So I haven't illustrated my own point there very well. But unless people in the comments say, no, this is great or something, keep it, I'll probably get rid of it. I'll probably just get rid of one line. And then every now and then, when we're pulling up to stations like this, then it widens out to have multiple tracks and people can decide what they want to do. So, anyways, all that bearing in mind, we'll get our medium-sized roads here, maybe. 4-lane roads. Snap to the side of the building. And just bring it along here, I guess. Turn on contour lines, but it should all be flat, right? Yeah, we flattened this area out completely now. So I'm not mathematically doing this, but it's going to be something like this. And we can adjust it in due time. And if anything, that'll be like a retaining wall. So we'll go up that way underneath, and eventually it'll join back up into the, you know, the coastal sort of road, the riverside road of the city. So that's quick access, hopefully, for people to get down here. Hopefully 4 lanes is enough. I think so, yeah. Alright, anyway, so it just means that we can cut up straight. Oh, we can't even do that probably, because what I'm going to do is put the rail line in here. Sorry, the rail terminal. What's it called? Rail yard. There we go. So yeah, I was thinking rail yard could go straight in here and match where its lines come out to its buddy. Is that right? Looks right. Yep. Cool. So that looks good. Just because I feel like if we're going to have rail coming in here, this might as well be where the rail yard goes. So then, I think what I'm going to do, just temporarily, we'll just bring this straight out straight. 135, and I need to go to 135 degrees. I don't think I have to, but that's what I'm going to aim for. 135 degrees. And this will have to be... Yeah, I'm going to make the turn even harsher than that. So we'll start at maybe 96. So 96 length both ways. So there's 96, and it has to be 135. Let's try that, and then we can go straight from there. Wow, this is actually going to line up almost perfect. I didn't really mean that, but let's bring this even further. So 135 degrees is a good enough angle that it actually has that nice merge. If you connect in rail line and it's at a too sharp of an angle, you'll see that the actual rail just has a gap, and it's just to kind of let you know that, like, hey, it's not going to work. Yeah, so they've got the problem, but we'll fix that in a moment. And then maybe this one can just go in along this line and connect in itself at some point. So we could use a complex curve for that. Maybe go to 48. It's alright. Don't see anything wrong with that, really. I didn't really math that out properly, but it's fine. Okay, so now we can just connect... it's going to break all that. Damn, that's an annoyingly large segment to snap, but okay. I wanted to just grab this little... Oh, actually, we can do that, can't we? If we just put down a little node. Yes, that works. Okay, so grab this bit, get the curve, click into there, and just bend it just that last little bit, which makes it look a bit better. Yeah, good. All right, nice. So yeah, I'll just do that up here with this. I'm glad I remembered that little trick about putting down the node. All right, so that's our kind of rail yard. I think it's kind of cool. I've used a lot of space though. Maybe I should have pushed that further back, but I don't really know what's going to go there anyway. We can't have something crossing over this area en masse. We can only have 10 trains, and this actually allows for more. Okay, maybe then it is necessary. Let's do one line here then. That's 15 in total. All right, so we'll just line that one up as well then, I guess. So that means that this is no longer the top one anymore. So we'll have to grab the line from down here and just continue along that trajectory. There we go. All right. Is that all right? I think that's fine. If I was being critical, which I am, it comes over way too far. But it still looks kind of cool, though. Big industrial rail yard, basically. So maybe I'll just do that again, but smush it in a little bit. If people think, I'll wait to defer to some comments on that before I get a bit too into the weeds with it. However, what we could do now is bring a road up this way. So we need to go back onto zoning cell length and the zone grid. I wonder, is that enough space? Just want to see what this would look like really quickly. Is that enough room for like car parks? Because I feel like car parks at the back of it would be good. You wouldn't really want to have any buildings at the end of a rail track, I feel like. But I mean, they'd smash into those things, I guess, if they continued on. But still, I just feel like it should be something a bit more open. So that just people's cars get damaged rather than entire buildings. Let's see. Car parks, large? There we go. I did it. And the zones look good. So let's try parking now. Large parking lot. So huge car park. Potentially you don't need it here. It might have something else there. But the idea is just that at the actual rail yard, I just thought it would make sense to have parking lot there. Right. So that comes out enough now that I can probably start to curve it. Okay, so that means now a road. So where's this is snapping to the side of a building here. If you want it to be completely parallel to it. Interesting. Do you want that though? I suppose why not? In an industrial area such as this, that could be okay. So I would say remove this. Shift that down a bit. Shift that down a bit. Alright. Alright, we're taking shape. We're very square, but that's a good thing, I guess. Alright, so our car parks are there. Now we've got open space maybe for offices, admin building kind of thing, kind of feel to it, so be alright with that. And then a big car parks right next to it. So the other thing was having the big bus depot somewhere down here. I was thinking again in this location perhaps. And then another thing I was thinking for the future, although we haven't unlocked it yet, would be subway. So if we unlock the subway, then we get the subway yard. It's very similar to the rail yard, and it could maybe just go here, and if we could have a tunnel that goes straight through, and that becomes the subway that goes into the city. Because the plan for me anyway was that the city is going to be really sort of in between, in these bounds here. I suppose I should use something that's a bit easier to see. What can we do? If we just get this tool just for a sec. So yeah, in the bounds within my mouse cursor here, it's kind of like more big downtown city type thing. And that can obviously extend and be pushed up and up and up the river. It just makes sense that it should be up beyond the river and this highway is just going on the outside of it. So it could obviously in the future come down even around that way. So all this area here. But yeah, for now, the initial idea is that this will be our first, you know, urban, really dense, needs a tram, needs a subway, that kind of thing, city. And that can continue up along this part of the river and stuff as well as it comes over. So, and especially as the city grows and changes over time, it might just become more dense. And I need to figure out what we can do with this. One of the first DLCs is like beaches and stuff, so I'm like, oh yeah, you know, beaches down along this way could kind of make sense, maybe. The industrial harbor just off down that way, I guess. I don't know. I'm learning as I go, I guess. Alright, so pretty happy with that, generally speaking. So what we need then is buses. So we'll have our bus depot. And I'm just going to plop it down wherever. I'll just move it. Money's basically infinite now, so plop it down there for a sec. So this is the thing that will give us the extension that we need. So we can have one there. We can have one there. So we can do that on both sides. And then you could just lay them out at the back, right? I mean, that's as many as you can fit in. Well, I'll have to leave it for now, but yeah, just thinking about it. So there was 2 grid spaces here and here. So if this was pushed up 1 and this was pushed up 1, we'd have another grid space down here to add another one along the bottom and a road that goes in and around it. It looks really weird. It's quite cheesy in some ways, but it does give us access to 85 buses. So pretty good. At the moment, we currently have 25. So just that alone, you know, it's a huge gain. Where's this guy going? Oh, it's a cargo plane. Flying a little erratically. Convenience food, chemicals, electronics, and food. Does food often travel by plane? Anyway, maybe. How are we doing with oil? So our new oil area is actually doing alright. 4 out of 5 already. Pretty good. How's our paper factory? 937 employees. Still short on employees. How are we doing for population and unemployment? 7%. Yeeks. It was about 6 when we started the video, so it is climbing. We did add a lot more people, though. We're over 17,700 population now. These houses are all full up. Even the low rent is full. That's good to see, I guess. Okay, so yeah, it'd be nice just to give this a quick way to power on, and maybe I can try to build the part of the retaining wall here. Okay, so I was experimenting with how to do that for a while. It took me a really long time, but I think I've got it worked out. So it wouldn't let me do it because it was saying that I was building in water. It's like, you're building in water, you're building in water. And it was, even when I'm building pretty far in, it was like, you're building on water. So I just didn't know, but I guess what you have to do is just build some land, right? So if you just choose something like this, build some land like that, that's still lower than where you're going, and that will create the retaining wall, and then you can just get rid of the land. So you just basically have to build a natural slope that's a bit lower, a lower level, I guess, of land, soil, beneath where your actual target is, and then you fill it in with water after the fact. I guess that makes sense. But I just spent a long time wondering why the hell was this not working. Because I never tried it before. I just knew you could do it. So yeah, anyway, just thought I would mention that for people who maybe got stuck with it like I just did. And then you just smoothing it back in, and I guess it's kind of fine. So I'll play around with the idea of that. That's the way it's going to have to be around the sides. But that's going to be a time-lapse, something that's going to take me a while. But ideally, the entire wall going along the coast up here is going to be like that. And I mean, I'd like to have it on this side. It's just so difficult. Like, what do you do with such a dramatic height difference? You know, this is just the way it was. So a lower wall down here and then a higher one higher up. It kind of reminds me, I was actually in Rome recently, last year in September-ish or something. I can't really remember. Never been there before, but walking along the Tiber River actually has that. The city is much higher up off the river bed, I guess. Maybe it rises with high tide or something. I'm not too sure. But there is walkways and paths and stuff down there on that lower level, and people are bike riding and stuff. It's really, really nice. But it was the first time I've ever seen that, where it's like, oh, you've got 2 layers of like walkways basically along the river. One that's like high up, and one that's like far. Like, it's pretty far. If you jump down, you'd break your legs, kind of thing. Don't know why that's how I have to explain how high something is instead of just using meters. But that's just what I thought. It's like, wow, if you fell down these steps, you'd be like in trouble. Anyways, so that's probably what I'll do there. That might carve it up and make it look a bit better, and we'll push that we'll get rid of that second railway, like I said. Apart from where the station is, you know, you can have a second railway for a while, and then it merges back in. Anyways, the whole point of that was to connect this up to at least some power and some water. We're still just cranking, just making so much money here, 83,000, and population's going up. Everything's good. The only concern I have, I guess, would be high rent is appearing a little bit more now, just a little bit. And then unemployment is climbing very slightly. Haven't noticed any like major traffic problems. I haven't had any issues where it says like, you know, you get little pop-ups saying high traffic. So things seem okay. You know, that's our traffic flow. It seems to be always between 70 and 80. Probably it's around 70. It dips to about 70 at lowest, and probably at highest maybe 75. The worst places for congestion are around the car parks, because it's just constantly people coming in and out of them, depending on the time of day. Yep, and lots of people using buses. So I just want to be able to provide the extra buses to really boost public transport. So we just want to hook this up to power and water really quickly. So we've got big power lines coming in there. So in a bit of a lazy way, I could just pop down a transformer station here, get a power line running at the back, across the highway, and then connect that in. So that should supply them with power at least. Yep. And what's the problem? Lack of high skill labor. And then, is this on now? That's actually turned off still, because we can't use it anyway. Alright, super ugly, but now they actually do have a way to get in and out of the town. So that's okay. And that means they can get down here. Now, obviously water and electricity and stuff doesn't flow along those, so we'll just have to connect a combined pipe across to here. Again, super lazy. I love how it's like $832 or whatever. I wish that would be like in a realism mode or something, be like, this is a $1 billion pipeline that you're building or something, you know, or $1 million pipeline at least, because it's running underneath a river. So it's not exactly like something that can be very easily laid. But anyway, maybe it's just as well until the game gets into slightly better shape. But I'm sure you'll get mods and things in the future that does do that. So, rail yards. Does that have anyone working there? It does have 3 people right now. And we can now... Hey! Fuel plant has been unlocked. So that required a certain number of... Yeah, I can't remember what the unlock was, but it was something like a certain amount of level 5 industry was needed before you could have a fuel plant. So I've just built oil out here. So we could put down a fuel plant somewhere up here, maybe. That could be quite cool. Because that's the problem even with the paper factory. It's that there is some pollution coming out of here, and it's blowing out that way. And that just sucks. But it's a very small amount, so I'm hoping that's like not too bad, generally speaking. And it is actually blowing away from the town. It's not blowing over the town, I mean. So that's okay. But yeah, so fuel plant. So that's probably gonna, I don't know what it requires or how many, you know, employees it can have, but until we fill up mostly the paper factory, I don't really want to build that yet. However, with unemployment rising, it might not be such a bad idea. So I'll just think about it, you know, think about the placement, the size, and we'll develop out this industrial estate a little bit better. So it's very quickly put down. I'm generally happy with how the rail and everything goes into here and all of that, but
now that we know that we're not going to build a port up here, and instead it's just going to have a railway connection down to the port down here, it needs to be kind of refactored and reformatted just a little bit. I'm such an idiot. I was just like, oh yeah, like trains are going to roll in here soon. Of course they're not. It's not connected yet. God damn it. So we'll just have to leave it. It's tempting just to draw a temporary line across, but there's no point. We just need to level up the city. So until we level it up, I'm going to have a look at what milestones and development points that we can put into things in the next episode, so we can start planning out how we're going to build a city, and then how to build and fill out this area a little bit more. I'm also just going to put down, just for now, see what it looks like, a few offices down here. So 4x4 there, 4x4 on the corner, hopefully. No takers on that one. And then I was going to do another 4x4 here. There we go. Another 4x4 there. Let's just fill these in a bit. Oh, they're all small little 2x2s. Okay, then. So yeah, we'll see how that kind of comes in, how that looks. Little administrative area for the entire operation down here. Yeah, quite happy with how that's starting off anyway, but, you know, needs more time. I got to work on the retaining wall, but this was kind of just an episode to kind of get back into the swing of things. We're making money, give you guys a little bit of a catch-up as to what's going on, and then, yeah, get ready for the next episode where we start really expanding again. All right, that's got to be it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.